Hey viewers, my name's Cara. This is my public channel, CuteWitch772, as opposed to my Patreon, where I have been putting lots of other content. Links in the description for that. I thought I would just make some tea, sit and chat with you for a bit, because I finally got myself another little pocket planner, specifically to keep track of my content posting, because I cannot keep track of time. I don't know how long it's been since the last time I posted something on Patreon or on this channel unless I can see it. So I'm often going back to my Patreon and looking for when I posted things. So I finally just got myself another little calendar so that I can mark it. That's something that I did a couple years ago and it was helpful, but I was doing it in my general planner, like my big paper planner. And so when I kind of got away from using that on a regular basis, I also wasn't utilizing the content tracking part of it. So I got myself just a simple pocket planner, monthly view only calendars from the dollar store, specifically for keeping track of when I've posted things. So I know I didn't post anything in January because I was in the process of moving out here, but then I posted one video to this public channel in February. That was my recap of 2022. And then I did one in March, celebrating my 20th witchiversary. So it's the end of April, and I haven't posted anything here for my public channel. So I wanted to make sure I do that. I have, however, posted things over on Patreon again. So I am doing more things on Patreon, but I want to make sure that something is happening here as well. So it's the end of April. It's Beltane season, Beltane and Samhain, depending on your hemisphere on this lovely planet. This weekend, May 1st-ish area, depending on if you go by the calendar dates or the astrological alignments or both. I like to do both. I'm one of those people. So happy Beltane and Samhain to those who celebrate those holidays. I wanted to just kind of chat about stuff because I'm really in the process of kind of examining and redetermining for myself what consistency looks like in my content creation, knowing that that consistency is never forever, right? I've had different types of consistent looking content creation over the years. There were times that I was posting multiple times a week reliably, very early on. There were times that I've done every single week pretty reliably, and there is now where I've done it like once a month. So maybe once a month is what my public channel uploading looks like right now. There is more going on my Patreon, so maybe Patreon looks like twice a month. I don't know. I'm in the process of figuring that out. I have definitely been someone who in the past has held myself to essentially other people's standards of what consistency looks like. And this is something I'm really exploring a lot with hearing how other content creators talk about their process and what consistency looks like for them and how they've kind of broken through those societal or overculture expectations that seem to be put forth by a lot of people on social media or just in general, the way we've all been sort of brought up that to be truly consistent about something and truly dedicated to it, you have to be doing it every single day. Or when it comes to content creation, not all of my favorite creators are doing daily videos or posts or whatever. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. But for a lot of people, it might be weekly. So when I'm in a place in my life, or when I have been in multiple places in my life, on and off, back and forth, where I can't even really seem to sustain a weekly something, that can feel really bad. It can feel like, oh, I'm failing at something because I'm comparing it to a specific standard of consistency. But consistency can look different for every person. Something that you do once a month is still consistent. Something that you do once a season or once a quarter, however you want to think of it, is still consistency. Something that you do once a year is still consistency, So some of you may recall from previous videos that I've often talked about how I don't really have a daily practice when it comes to like my religion and spirituality, my path, but that I do have regular practices. And that is languaging that I specifically came up with years ago for myself when I realized, like, yeah, there's nothing I do every single day or every single week or, you know, there's nothing I do on that kind of a rigid schedule. But there absolutely are things that for years I have done regularly. It doesn't fit a specific like linear block calendar, but they are things that I come back to consistently in my practice. That doesn't always look like every day or every week, right? So I'm really in the process of trying to utilize this time where I am back living in my mother's home, right? Really, really going back to my roots here. And I talked about this a little bit in my video celebrating my 20th witchiversary, that I was thinking about me at the start of my practice, like that witch, that budding pagan, and thinking about the ways that I thought about things then, and whether I ever dreamed that I would be doing certain things now. So I'm getting back into that headspace, but I also realized I'm back in that energetic space as well, because although it is in a different part of the country, it's not the same house, I am back in my mother's home. I am back to studying witchcraft and paganism on my own in my room on a pretty solitary basis, not having my community, who I now have back in my home state, who I've grown connections with over the last couple of years. Like, that community is relatively new for me, and now I'm separated from them for a while. So I'm really, really noticing that, like, not only am I casting my thoughts back to 20 years ago when I started this practice, but in many ways, the situation that I have found myself in at this point is right back to where I was 20 years ago. But now I get to look at those things from the perspective that I have now, having been through those 20 years and having the experiences of that time and the knowledge of that time and the connections with other people that I've built throughout that time. So this is, like, for real when we talk about spirals as a symbol of time, and especially of progress. Things go in cycles, things go in spirals, because I think Starhawk talks about this in the Spiral Dance. Something that I've read talks specifically about this. If not Spiral Dance or 12 Wild Swans, then I'm not sure. But somewhere it talks about how a spiral comes back around to basically the point where it started, but not, right? Because if it started here, comes back in, and then it spirals next to it. And then it spirals in again a little further in. So it's always coming back to, like, a certain alignment, but closer to the center than it was before. Not the exact same point, but a similar point, a nearby point. That's where I am. I have spiraled around a 20-year cycle, at least, to a very similar energetic feeling place as where I started my practice. But now I'm not here, I'm here. It's similar, but I have new experiences and knowledge. It's wild. So I'm really trying to re-examine some things. There's also a lot of things coming up in terms of my relationship with consistency and my ability to focus in different situations and all these types of things that learning more about ADHD has also really been helping with. I'm very much in this process of, like, oh, this is maybe partly why I struggle with certain things that I don't see other people struggling with. How can what I'm learning about that help me strategize for better personalized methods for what I want to do? So I had a lot of plans for when I came out here, that I was going to be doing certain content creation, I was going to be posting videos about my traveling out here, I was going to be doing this, that, and the other, and I'll probably go into this more in other videos in the future. But let me just say, nothing I had planned worked. It's all different. Everything is different here than how I had expected it to be, how I had sort of planned to try to do things. Nothing turned out to be the way that I thought it might, and that's something that I've kind of always experienced, and is partly why it's so hard for me to plan in advance, because I know from experience that a lot of the time when you get into a situation, it looks nothing like what you thought it was going to. So I feel kind of badly that I had said, oh, there's going to be like this type of content, I'm going to vlog about my travels out here, and I did record some vlog clips, and I'll probably still try to come up with something to do with them in the future, but so much of it just didn't work out the way that I thought it would, so what I've been doing with my content is very different. I do have a lot of like backlogged content that was recorded back in Ohio and years ago that hasn't gotten edited or uploaded yet because I didn't have my editing software available for quite a while, until like February of this year again, which is another on and off recurring issue with my content. So there might be some things being posted on here or on Patreon that were actually recorded years ago, but I'm just getting around to doing it. I don't know. We'll see. I also wanted to say that I've been doing a lot with reclaiming community. I have a role in planning for camp again this summer, so I've been having a lot of online meetings with people in my tradition and community. So while I am physically separated from community again, I am definitely not separated from them. So again, it's back to like all of my community is online, but I have a much different community now than I did 20 years ago. I'm really enjoying the work that I am able to engage with, and I will possibly talk about that again in other future videos. I don't have a lot of time for this video because my phone only has so much storage space on it right now and it's gonna cut me off. But I did want to say that I'm really enjoying the work that I'm doing with that. It is probably the bulk of my magical stuff right now is in planning with others to get ready for camp, and some stuff with my local community that we've been able to do online. So I've been able to join them for rituals that they're doing in person, and I join in via video chat, which has been good because sometimes if somebody is sick and can't make it, they can still tune in that way too. So it's not just for people who aren't in the same state, but like if for any reason somebody can't make it, we can do it online, or we can do a hybrid in person and online. It's really nice to feel like I do still have that connection. I recently posted a video for Patreon about my current reading plans and some soon upcoming reading plans, so you'll definitely be hearing more about that stuff as it actually happens in the future. But if you're the kind of person who likes to know a little bit about what I'm planning ahead of time, maybe you want to plan ahead to try to join in, you'll find some of that stuff over on the Patreon as well. Again, happy Samhain or Beltane to those who are celebrating that this weekend. I will see you next time. Until then, thank you very much for watching and or listening to this video. Don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.